Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. Today I'm going to be sharing with you another new release from Revolution. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the new Revolution Maxineczka, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Beauty Legacy palette. It's a travel friendly makeup palette and the packaging looks like this. So you've got matte black with a rose gold trim. You've also got the Revolution logo along with the Maxineczka Beauty Legacy, and then you've got here the travel friendly makeup palette there. So that's what it looks like on the front, and of course you've also got that brush stroke there in brown. You've got on the back the name of the palette, what shades you're going to expect, of course, as with the other palettes, and then you've got the ingredients there. So that's the back of the palette. This one retails for £10, the same as the rest, and you can pick it up at revolutionbeauty.com. So that's the actual packaging, and then the palette itself mimics the packaging. So you've got matte black, again with the rose gold trim, the logo, the name of the palette, the name of the, and Maxineczka is a Polish YouTuber, if you weren't already aware of that. So congratulations to her for this amazing palette. And then again, it mimics that on the front there, telling you that it's a travel friendly makeup palette. And of course the back then mimics the packaging, apart from you don't have the shades there because of course you've got the beautiful shades inside. You do have a mirror, you have a small mirror there, and then you've got these shades. So you've got 9 eyeshadows and then you've got 3 face products. So you've got a highlighter, a blush, and then you've got a contour stroke bronzer depending on your skin tone, and then you've got these beautiful shades. So I'll just give you a close-up of that and then I will go through the shades and the names of the shades as well. And you can see that there is one particular shade in particular that is just popping out from that palette. Okay, so we'll go through the eyeshadows first of all. So you've got the matte shade called Canvas. You've got this shade here, which is your cool tone transitional shade called Ash. Then you've got a warm tone transitional shade called Brick. So there are your 3. Well, basically that's your first row. They're all matte. Your second row starts off with the Shimmer Shade Crystal, a beautiful baby pink shade. You've got a beautiful shimmer coppery shade called Copper, and then another shade that I was really intrigued by, beautiful purple shade called Petal. Really love that shade. And of course that shade that really pops out of the palette, it's called Orchid. It's like a duochrome. And then you've got 2 deeper shades. You've got Smoke, which is more like a charcoal shade, and then you've got black called Night. Your face products, you've got the highlight shade called Pure Glow. You've got the blush shade is called Love's Hue, and then you've got the bronzer stroke contour shade called the Grand Tan. So there are all of your shades. Now, what I would say about the palette is it's a card palette. Typically, I don't like, card palettes, but I must say that this one does feel sturdy. It does feel weighty, and it doesn't feel, sometimes when you have those cardboard palettes, they feel cheap. This doesn't feel like that at all. It does feel like it's sturdy, and it has got a little bit of weight to it. It's not too heavy, but you can tell that it's not cheap and nasty, if you know what I mean. So I really, really like that. I know that they've gone with card because obviously with a travel palette, travel palettes, for something that is more travel friendly, it is obviously easier to travel with a card palette. If you've got plastic, I suppose it's more prone to breakage. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I really like the fact that there is some weight to it. I also like the fact that you've got all of your face shades in here as well, so that makes it travel friendly. It also helps me as well if I'm in a rush. I've got everything here that I need for my face, for my eyes as well. So it's a one-stop shop, I suppose. One stop for makeup. Yeah. So really, really like that. What I would say is, because I've already applied my face shades to save time, and I already have some thoughts about these products. Now, what I would say about this shade here called the Grand Tan it was just not quite deep enough for my skin tone, but it was also not warm enough as a bronzer, so it's just slightly not quite right, but it did work well. And what I actually did is mix those two together, and that then made the perfect colour for me as a bronzer. So up here I've mixed these two together, so that worked for me. I then added it as a sort of bronzer stroke contour here. And then I used the blush, which I absolutely love. This is very pigmented, but I also love the shade of it. I think it's very, very wearable for me, and it works very nicely with my skin tone. The highlight was a little bit, certainly not as blinding as yesterday's highlight, but if you like a subtle highlight that you can build up, you will love this one. I mean, sometimes I want that subtle highlight that I can build up. So, and I really like Revolution in the fact that they have all different, you know, tones, I suppose, not just tones, but, you know, they sell blinding highlights, they sell ones that are not quite, or you know, as blinding and are more subtle. So, you know, there are all different types. It just depends on what you like. But I would say that that is definitely less blinding than Carmi's yesterday. But yeah, it's still a beautiful highlight. Absolutely love it. So you can see that there. And I really did build that up there. Okay, so going in with the eyeshadows now. I'm going to just set the base. If the palette has if the palette has a base shade, I will use it. If it doesn't, I just leave it out. So I'm just going to clean my brush that I used earlier, and I'm going to go in with the first shade, which is Canvas. So it's that matte cream shade. So I'm just going to apply that all over the lid. And of course what I've done is I've set the eye with, I've applied the Revolution Pro Eye Elements base, which I absolutely love. So I've added Canvas, so we're all now ready to go, and I'm going to go in with this shade, which is Ash. So I'm just going to put that in the transitional area and then take it up. Also with this shade, I mean, I have to go in with it quite a few times to get it to the intensity that I want. As you know, I've got a little bit of hooded eyes, and the eyeshadow has to show up here, because if it doesn't, it just doesn't look like I've got anything on my eyes at all. So I have to build it up. So I suppose along with the other, you know, the contour shade, it's just a little bit light for me. And this shade, Ash, and Brick are the only, you know, transitional shades, I suppose. So it is nice, but I do love the colour. I just have to build it up a little bit. So there's Ash applied on the eye. It's a cooler shade, but I thought I'll go with something cooler, something different. Now what I want to do is go in with one of the shades that really caught my eye with this palette, and it's the shade Petal. And I thought that these two shades would work beautifully together. So I'm just going to apply that in the crease and then blend it up. But what I don't want to do is take out all of that first shade, Ash. And that I just love that combination. Love that so much. Blend beautifully together. Now I'm just going to clean that brush because I want to put Ash underneath the eye. And again, I really think that the colourways in this palette are different. And I really, really love that combination so much. So that's the first two shades. Then I went in with Smoke just to deepen it up. Now it's like a charcoal shade, but it's got a little bit of brown to it as well. So yeah, it looks in the pan like it's going to be charcoal, but when you swatch it, it's a little bit on the brown side as well. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that, and I'm going to put that in the crease there, just to deepen that up like that. Like that. I don't want too much smokiness. I've actually got to go out later, and I'm not going to take it off because I really, really like the eye look. I also went all over the lid with that shade Petal. Love that. But I didn't want to leave it there, obviously. Now we're moving on to the Shimmer Shades. Now, I kept thinking to myself, I looked at this palette, I want to incorporate that purple shade. I've got to incorporate that purple shade because it's just beautiful. So I'm now going in with the shade Orchid. And with my finger, I'm just going to apply that all over the eye. Now, what I will say about this Orchid shade is, and there are a lot of shades like this, you know, these electric blues and purples and that kind of shade. They take a little bit of building up, but it is so worth the effort. So it is just a beautiful colour. And it's, when the light hits, it is just stunning. That is just, oh, absolutely beautiful. Then what I did was I got my Primark pencil brush and I went into the shade then Crystal, which is that light baby pink shade, and I'm just going to blend that pink into that beautiful Orchid shade, and I'm just going to pop it all around the inner corner like that. And then I'm going back to my first brush. I'm not going to mention which brush it is, but because you can no longer get it, but obviously just use whatever eye brush you would like. Just going to go underneath the eye and add a little bit more of that Petal shade. I just love it so much. That combination is just beautiful. And then I want that, as if that wasn't enough, I then wanted to add a little bit of a spotlight, and I went in with the shade Copper. Again, I wanted to try and use as many eyeshadows as I could and can, just to see what I could do with this palette. Wow. That is just beautiful. I'm just going to add a little bit more liner. And I'm going to add a little bit, and the liner that I'm using is the Revolution Pro HD Smoky eyeliner. It's waterproof, it's bulletproof, and it really is. And I'm using the PS Amplif-eyed mascara in black just to coat my lashes. Like that. Now what I will say is that I've had this on now for about an hour. And I do tend to find that, you know, with especially a spotlight eye, they tend to sort of melt in. So although this looks very much like I haven't blended it, it will all melt into one beautiful look. Actually, I've missed one little step. Now I went in with this same pencil brush into Copper, so that beautiful spotlight shade, and I just ran that underneath just to add even more drama. And I just loved it. Absolutely love that look. So that is my eye look and my face look using the new Revolution Maxineczka, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Beauty Legacy palette. I absolutely love it. I love the packaging. Yes, I prefer a plastic palette, but this, like I say, feels very sturdy. Really love the shades. Again, I think that the shades that have been chosen are different. I particularly love the combination of those two. I also absolutely love this, but like I say, it's not one of those eyeshadows particularly like those. You have to build it up, but it is so worth the effort. It is beautiful. The only thing that I will say about the palette, one of these shades, if you know, my preference would be to take one of these out. I would prefer to use this one, but the black I suppose I could do without, and I think the same, if you like the black shade you could probably do without that one. So, and I would have preferred, because the choice has been so fantastic with the other shades, I would have loved to have seen an extra shade there. But apart from that, really loved it. It was just unfortunate this shade is just a little bit too light for me as a contour, but mixing those two together really worked to bronze my skin up. So if you, like me, are a light to medium and you need more of a warmer shade, then try mixing those together only a little bit, because that is so pigmented and it will give you the warmth that you need. So absolutely perfect. And I love that blush shade. The highlighter, if you love a subtle highlight, like I said, you're going to love that, but it is buildable. It's just not quite as intense as the one that we saw from Carmi's palette yesterday. But like I say, I built it up and yeah, it really does work absolutely beautifully. All in all, I really love it. And yeah, I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Have you picked it up? Have you tried it? What are you thinking about it? Are you loving all of these collaborations? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And of course, if you have just stumbled across my channel, I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to watch further videos. But until tomorrow, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.